sometimes people get a little bit flustered by not understanding that there's this behavioral science that underlies how we process a lot of our interactions with people. And it's really powerful for building relationships. When I see a leader and I see a team taking this understanding of behavioral science and actually being able to create more trust, because they understand that, people aren't trying to drive them crazy. They're just a motivating need, trying to be heard. That's all.
Welcome to Life Changing Money, a podcast all about one of the most taboo topics in the world, money. I'm your host, Barbara Strehan, and we're going behind the scenes on business owners' journeys to money, success, and wealth. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Changing Money. I am so excited for this week's episode. We have the amazing and beautiful Michelle Kozin on the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
We have had the blessing of having her as a client and also attend some of our events and be in the council. So yes. We just wrapped up a whole week of the Be Seen New York City retreat, and now we get to end with a podcast, which is so fun.
So much fun.
And you help, well, now you're going into a new venture, but yes. You also help big companies with Predictive Index. How did you get into that?
Yeah, such a great question. The way that I first started using Predictive Index was almost 20 years ago. So I was coming off of stint as a change management consultant for a big firm called Accenture, which you may know kind of rolled out of Arthur Andersen as your consulting.
I know Accenture.
Your accounting roots. So in that work that I did, it was with organizations going through big transformations, technology transformations, but technology transformations are really about people transformations. And so change management in that area was all about helping people understand how to reconnect with giving value, connecting to purpose, connecting to strategy in a way that was really redefining how they were going to use their skills, how they were going to use their styles, how they were going to use their relationships to help the organizations transform. So there were a few different frameworks and models and things like that that I picked up along the way. But then I am from Boston, and Boston is a big hub for technology startups. So I joined a technology startup, and we were really transforming the way that software was sold. And now we'd call it software as a service, but 20 years ago, SaaS or software as a service was a really new thing. And we were venture backed. They were looking for some really powerful, aggressive revenue numbers. And we were having a really hard time figuring out how to make the organization scale. And I was introduced to the Predictive Index because what Predictive Index helps a lot of teams and leaders understand is really our core diversity of thought about how are we wired for work. And I know that you've taken the Predictive Index and you're a Maverick. And what that helps us understand is that you're just someone who is undaunted by failure. And so when we think about how people are wired for work and we apply that in an organizational setting, and we know that folks have to execute on a strategy, it actually helps us to amplify people's performance potential by looking at what they are really naturally wired to do. And so I started to do that as a client of Predictive Index, and I loved it so much that I went to work at the Predictive Index. And then the last 10 years, I've had a firm, an implementation firm, where I get to work alongside teams, work alongside leaders, and teach them this language of how people are wired for work and how we can amplify diversity of thought and just get better results.
I'd love to dive into Predictive Index more, the few different types of people there are. Like you mentioned, I'm a Maverick. Maybe just go through each of them.
Yes. So in Predictive Index, there are 17 reference profiles.
Oh, maybe don't go through all of 17.
We're not going to go through all 17.
I thought there were 4.
There are 17, but basically what that helps us to understand is each person, we look at 4 different drives. So we look at something called dominance. And what that is analogous to is thinking about, like, if you are someone who is more independent, or you might be someone who's more collaborative, and neither one is right or wrong, but it helps us understand a little bit about what you really like to do. And so Mavericks tend to be a little bit more of a driver. They tend to like to, have their hands on the steering wheel, have a vision. Doesn't mean you can't be a team player. In fact, any combination of the drives can be a team player. It's kind of how you play on a team, right? So we also have another drive that we measure called extroversion, and that is more about, it doesn't mean you are nice or you're not nice or you're super energized by people or you're not super energized by people. What it has to do is actually how do you leverage relationships to get stuff done. And Mavericks tend to be really, really, really good at leveraging relationships to get stuff done.
Ooh.
Right?
I am very good at delegating.
So does that resonate so far, those
Yes.
2 things? Okay. So the other 2 drives in Predictive Index have to do with tempo or pace. Mavericks tend to operate at a faster than average pace. They tend to do multiple priorities, handle kind of multiple priorities at the same time, really like to have a lot of different things going on. But some people are actually what we call stabilizing folks. So you can have some stabilizing team members who are actually really great at balancing out your faster tempo and kind of the driving intensity that you work with, having been in your world in various different ways for the past few years, whether it's at as a strategy client or in the council or attending your retreats. I think that I've seen your amazing Maverick energy in action, and I think it is absolutely a superpower of yours. And what Mavericks do really well, when they really understand and have a lot of self-awareness, that they know how to surround themselves with the people who balance them out, right? Because the last drive that we talk about in Predictive Index is precision, right? So are you someone who likes to dig into the details and kind of get a lot of the details done? Or are you someone who likes to delegate the details to others? And of course you have to have trust in the people that are doing the details. But I think we know that your superpower is kind of assembling that team who has a lot of the amazing capacity to execute on the events.
My million ideas.
And the vision, and also the vision, right? Mavericks tend to just be that visionary person, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And any organization can utilize it. Do you use it with like spouses and kids?
Yeah, sometimes we say we charge extra for that, but yes, it's a great tool. And in fact, a lot of the leaders that I work with will have their significant others read their results and also take the predictive index, because it can really help them understand how each other are wired, because really there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. And in fact, we do best when we have complementary people around us, but we don't always realize that they're complementary, because sometimes their styles will make us feel like, you're going too slow, or, I need to recharge, or, let me take the wheel for a little while, or where are the details, right? So sometimes people get a little bit flustered by not understanding that there's this science, this behavioral science that underlies how we process a lot of our interactions with people. And it's really powerful for building relationships, which is the work that I really love to do, is when I see a leader and I see a team taking this understanding of behavioral science and actually being able to create more trust, because they understand that, people aren't trying to drive them crazy. They're just, I always say, it's just a motivating need, trying to be heard, that's all.
Well, and just like building more powerful teams, because you're putting them in the right spots.
Yes. Yep.
So that's really cool. And you're going to teach all the council members how they can use PI as well. I'm excited for that in Greece.
Absolutely.
And
it'll make it fun for them too, because they're all such amazing leaders on their own, but they all have they're all coming to it from really different areas. And the other thing that we talk about a lot is it's not just by itself, it's in the context of how you've acquired different experiences. So I talk a lot about something called head, heart, briefcase. So head is kind of like that behavior, those behavioral drives, that behavioral intelligence. Heart is stuff like coachability and curiosity and resilience and empathy and a lot of the work that we've actually done in the council, right, around growth mindset. And then there's experience, right? What are the knowledge? What's the knowledge you've acquired? What are the skills? You know, what are the experiences? What's that briefcase that you have that you kind of bring around in the world and what you keep adding to it? So you put all those together and you have really unique leaders like we have in the council.
I'm excited to see that in Greece. And in the council, you met your new business partner.
I did. That was definitely unexpected and such a joy. And it's just personally and professionally such a powerful moment for me and for Mallory and Bethany. And we're just so excited and so grateful that we were able to come together, and super appreciate you for bringing such great people together.
Aw. Well, I'd love to be like a fly on the wall. How did that conversation even start?
Yes, great question. And so how it started is Mallory and Bethany are both on different sides of the clinical research world. And my experience has a lot to do with building organizations and bringing people into the right seats in organizations so that they can unlock their performance potential. And so we all just started talking a little bit about how clinical research is such an important bridge to creating more health and bringing the best medicines, the best protocols, the best devices into the hands of the families that need them. And I started to talk to both of them about the consulting work and about the site work that they do. And we started to talk about starting a business where we could all collaborate together. And then in the midst of that, had a very profound personal connection happen when my 17-year-old son just suddenly took ill, and we thought that it might just be a flu, or there might just be something going on with him, that maybe it was COVID or a flu or strep or something like that. And within about 30 hours, it went from something that seemed really typical to something that was actually hydrocephalus, which is fluid on the brain. And it turned into an emergency situation very quickly. And were it not for the unbelievable resources, doctors, nurses, and probably some guardian angels helping us to navigate an incredibly scary situation. He had intracranial pressure. They weren't sure where it was coming from. It turns out that it was some really challenging obstructions going on in his brain, and we were blessed to have one of the best experts in the world performing brain surgery on him within about 30 hours of realizing how serious this was. So when I thought and reflected on that moment and how many medicines, how many people, and how many trials in different parts of the world and different modalities kind of came together to create a really wonderful outcome for us, it just became even more powerful to want to pay that forward. So,
wow. Yeah, the timing of it is like divine almost.
I truly believe that. I believe it was just one of those moments that just said, this is where you need to put your energy. This is the best work that you can put into the world and do good with, right? There's just been a lot of synergies, a lot of little God winks, bringing people together, and a pretty powerful message of how to contribute.
And just like a testament of, it's not just about getting in the room, but like building real connections with people in the room as well. And you do such a good job of that. Like when you talk to someone, you like speak into their soul, and you're so intentional with it as well.
Thank you.
Well, we're wrapping up. You've been on a lot of our retreats at this point, but at the end of this week, we're wrapping up the Be Seen retreat. Is there like a favorite moment or memory from this week?
This is my first year attending Be Seen, and it won't be my last, because I think this retreat is so special. All your retreats are amazing, all your events. I'm a little bit of a groupie at this point. But there's something about continuing to expand your identity. Mm-hmm. And as much work that I do with my background in behavioral science and organizational strategy, and really thinking about that head, heart, briefcase model, the identity piece is really significant. And one of my favorite things about the Be Seen retreat is that you really have unlocked people's ability to experience themselves in a new way, maybe a half step before they're ready for it.
Yeah.
And that is such a powerful thing to understand. And until you're up close to it, you don't realize how significant that half step really is. Right? So I mean, there's so many special moments from this week. The people that you bring in to help us not only think about our potential differently, but also then help us to build the skills to take action, that's truly magical.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited for both of your businesses to just grow and scale.
Thank you.
Where can people find you?
So people can find me at Predictive Advisors. That's the company that I have, which helps organizations to grow and to scale and to predict how to build trust in organizations. And then also Ambassador Clinical Research. Yes, the new company. They can find me there as well.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Life Changing Money. Don't forget to subscribe, and I would love if you left a review and shared it with your friends. See you next time.